Chapter 8. This chapter will explore the origins of humans as they currently stand and help to dissolve much of the mystery behind the path to our speciation. The possible missing link. In 1924, Raymond Dart, a professor in South Africa, was presented with the recently discovered fossils of what is believed to be the missing link between humans and their closest ancestors, the chimpanzee and the gorilla. The fossils were found in the Transvaal region of what is now better known as South Africa. The discovery supported Darwin's theory that early human species originated from Africa and migrated. The discovery sparked a new interest in the field of fossils as well as a chain of events which gave us a better understanding of our origins. The debate of creationism versus evolution. Though now widely accepted, the theory of evolution did not start as the most popular topic. For example, the monkey trials of 1924 in Dayton, Tennessee, which outlawed the teachings of evolution in public schools. This ruling obviously did not hold. The idea was first introduced and theorized by Charles Linnaeus in 1735, but was met with heavy scrutiny. It was not until 1871, when Darwin published The Descent of Man, that the idea became more accepted. Charles Lyell and Alfred Russel Wallace, who were some of Darwin's biggest influences, were reluctant to agree with Darwin's claims due to some of the same scrutiny that Linnaeus faced. In 1891, a Dutch physician named Eugene Dubois discovered the fossils of what is now Homo erectus, but ultimately kept them hidden for 3 decades because of religious scrutiny. In the end, Dart's discovery paved the way for many more discoveries, most in Africa, that continued to support Darwin's original hypothesis. The most important of these discoveries was Lucy in 1974. The new finds helped to bridge the gap between humans and their ancestors. Despite the number of finds in this gap, the true missing link between humans and chimpanzees has never been found and probably never be. Evolution continued. Even though the ape-to-human lineage is clear, the specifics between the lineage is very unclear and still up for debate. A big question to be asked here is what the pattern of human evolution since we diverged from apes. To be more clear, which of our identifying characteristics began evolving first? Part of this question was answered in 2002 when Michael Brunet discovered possibly the earliest human ancestor in the deserts of Chad. The placement of its spinal cord lent details as to when human bipedalism may have begun. Early signs of bipedalism were also found with the discovery of Lucy as well. The Laetoli footprints discovered in 1976 proved to be the first sign of human behavior. Lucy's impact. Lucy proved to be the perfect transitional form between humans and apes. For clarity, from the neck up, she was ape-like, while her midsection was a mixture of humans and apes, and finally, from the waist down, human-like. These details suggest that upright posture evolved before brain size.
Neanderthals first appeared about 230,000 years ago, until vanishing around 28,000 years ago. They had brains even larger than modern-day humans and were excellent toolmakers and hunters. Multi-regional theory proposes an evolutionary replacement. Homo erectus simply evolved into Homo sapiens independently in several areas, perhaps because natural selection was acting in the same way. Out of Africa theory proposes that modern Homo sapiens originated in Africa and spread, physically replacing Homo erectus and the Neanderthals, perhaps by outcompeting them for food or killing them. Genetic and fossil evidence supports the out of Africa theory. Looking at the whole array of fossils, we clearly have indisputable evidence for human evolution from ape-like ancestors. We see in the human fossil record the appearance of complex adaptations such as erect posture and remodeled skulls, both of which support that natural selection was at play. Between 10 million and 3 million years ago, there was a drought in Africa. The climate became drier and drier, followed by periods of drought and rainfall. Many biologists believe these climate changes were related to the evolution of bipedality. Walking on 2 feet could have freed up our hands for us to have access to new types of foods, which may also explain why our teeth became smaller. In 1975, Wilson and King found that there was only a 1% difference in the human and chimp genome responsible for producing proteins. Recent studies show a difference of 1.5%. Another difference between us is the number of copies of genes. For example, chimps have one copy of the salivary enzyme amylase, while we have between 2 to 16. Only about 10 to 15% of the genetic variation is interracial, while the other 85 to 90% is within individuals of the same race. Some racial differences give us clear evidence of evolutionary pressures that acted in different areas and can be useful in medicine. Sickle cell anemia, for example, is most common in blacks whose ancestor came from equatorial Africa, because carriers have some resistance to malaria. Physical differences like skin color are probably adaptive, where dark protects against overexposure to sunlight, while light allows for more vitamin D absorption. Another explanation for physical differences could be sexual selection, which in turn could promote a change in genes of different races. We are still evolving to this day, and evolution will continue as long as some die before reproducing and some have more offspring than others. An example of a current evolved trait is the ability to digest lactose as adults, which arose only 3,000 to 8,000 years ago.
Evolution Redux. Evolution is far more than a theory explaining about the process and patterns of diversification of life. Various evidences collected from many areas such as fossil records, biogeography, embryology shows that organisms have evolved from a common ancestor. Evolution never be a grand philosophical scheme explaining the meaning of life. Rather, it is as much a scientific fact as the atomic constitution of matter or revolution of Earth around the Sun. Every fossil record that has been discovered, an experiment that has been conducted, made a blueprint on accepting the fact that organisms evolved gradually from a common ancestor, splitting their lineages to form different or newer species, with characters modified from generation to generation. The study of evolution at its best explains how man was created, why alleles are lost or fixed in a population, why females are always choosy, how does sexual selection work, etc. While a part of the world battle with the mechanisms of science, another portion who are with anti-scientific attitudes deny the theory of evolution and believe that the world and human beings were created by God. People who hold this belief are often referred to as creationists. Naturalism and materialism. Naturalism is a philosophical viewpoint according to which everything arises from natural properties and causes, excluding supernatural explanations. Materialism is the idea that the only reality is the physical matter of the universe, and everything else, including thoughts, wills, and emotions, comes from physical laws acting on that matter. Evolution, in one hand, is a naturalistic materialism. Darwinism explains that all species have arisen from a mechanism of blind purposeless forces over a long period of time. There has been a question arisen that are all behaviors of human beings having evolutionary basis? All human societies throughout the world share a number of widely recognized human universals. The division of labor between the sexes, male dominance, religious and supernatural belief, decorative art and fashion, dance and music are some of the behaviors which distinguish humans from other animals and mammals. Yet, we can dismiss that all behaviors have no evolutionary basis. Behaviors that are widely shared among all animals, including humans, which play important role in survival and reproduction, such as eating, sleeping, sex drive, parental care, depict some evolutionary relationship in this manner. The biggest misconception that frightens people away from the evolution is that accepting evolution will somehow split the society apart, wreck our morality, impel us to behave like beasts, since the theory explains that human beings are evolved mammals and there will be nothing to prevent us from acting like beasts. But to evade this misconception, we should learn that the study of evolution can liberate our minds. Even though human beings are only one small twig on the vast branching tree of evolution, people should learn that we are a special kind of animals, way more intelligent and superior to every other species. We are the only creatures to whom natural selection has left intelligence to govern the whole universe.